up close and personal to the tanker, right? And what I mean by that is right here off the wing, right? Not back here, not out here, not flying figure eights out here. I mean, tucked in right here off this wing. When you're in an observation, a rejoin position over here on the left side, you should be no more than 100 feet away from that wingtip. What I use is I use the engine, the forward part of the engines lined up to align my position. So if I'm looking at it from this side, that's what I do to line up my position, is when those two engine nacelles are lined up with each other, that's the position I want to be in. I want to be right about here.
And this is basic formation stuff as well, guys. Like
Yep.
when you're in wingtip formation, the best way to know that you're in a good position on your wing or on your lead or whoever you're formed up on is you want to make sure that that aircraft is behind your canopy bow. If he's ahead of your canopy bow, you're too far back. And like Frodo said, if you want to use the engine nacelle, that's a good sight picture as well. But you guys got to get a
Yep.
little bit closer. Make sure your aircraft that you're forming up on is behind your canopy bow.
All right.
Sorry, go ahead, Frodo.
So tanker comms real quick, right? If you look in the Hornet training data and the Tomcat training data, I've got a rejoin PowerPoint page I put in there that shows you how we do our rejoin. That is also talking you through a baseline intercept for any type of thing you want to intercept. So if you start using that, you'll actually rejoin quicker, you'll save gas, and you'll save time. Okay, so everyone review that before our next flight. Comms for the tanker, right? We want to check in before we get to 30 miles. The check-in is just simply your board number or your flight, how many aircraft, and inbound. Texaco, Warhawk 4, flight of 2, inbound 28,000. Just like that. Keep it short and simple. He'll tell you what to do after that. Always want to approach from the bottom, work your way up according to the diagram. And just in case you guys can't see it, I'll show you what it looks like so you know what to look for. This is what it looks like right here on the right. Right, so outside of 5-10 miles, outside of 10 miles, 5 to 10 miles, 2 to 5 miles, inside of 2 miles. That's basically all it is. Okay. Comms, right? You want to do 30 miles, 10 miles, 5 miles, and 1 mile. Right? That is to let everybody else know where you're at. It's just an informative call. You're not going to get a response. And it's just simply Warhawk 4, 5 miles. Even if Texaco says report when established in a rejoin, you still make those calls. Okay. This goes for the entire flight, right? Whether you're departing or you're recovering or going to the tanker, or dropping a bomb, or doesn't matter. If you miss a call, don't lie to make up for it, right? If you're dropping a bomb and you forgot to say pickle or GBU 12 away, don't say it 2 minutes later. Okay. If you miss the break call, don't say that you're in the break when you're on the downwind. Because what the tower controllers and myself and Grip Ping, what we're doing is we've got a game plan in our head based off of a snapshot of what people are doing. And we know what's going to happen, or we know what to expect within the next 10 or 20 seconds. When we hear something we're not expecting, your heart jumps about 60 beats per minute and your blood pressure goes through the roof because you're like, holy shit, what did I miss? And then you start scrambling to look and see where everything's at and trying to find the problem. And then you realize, oh, they just forgot to make the brake call and they're about to cross the Abine, right? So if you miss a call, don't make up for it. If, for example, you're in the brake, you call the brake and you don't hear the paddles, switch paddles, you're going to switch anyway, right? You should already have paddles set up on your front radio. If you don't hear the switch paddles, you're going to switch anyway, right? That's just a reminder call and an informative call to everyone that that's what's going on. So don't miss being on paddles. One thing I saw was a lot of people braking at unusual distances. We had some people breaking right off the bow. Some other people went 2 miles when there was nobody in front of them or in the pattern. Um, so remember, everything we do is in 1 mile increments when it comes to the boat. If you see an aircraft bolter in front of you, you just add 1 mile. They're going to go at a mile. You're going to break it 2, 3, 4. If you beat them to the bow, right, give them the benefit of the doubt. But if you for sure beat them to the bow, you're going to break at a mile. They're going to break all the way at the end. Okay. Radio calls around the boat, right? We need to go over that documentation again. Make sure you guys are understanding all of your calls. We had several verbose radio calls tonight that caused a little bit of radio traffic, little things getting stacked up on top of each other. Going forward, I'd like everybody, before you make a radio call, pause for an extra second to make sure somebody else isn't making a radio call. We had a lot of people stepping on the controllers tonight and controllers stepping on other people as well. We want to make sure the radio is clear before we start transmitting. That's pretty much all I had for the general stuff. Does anybody have anything else?
Could you start with me, guys, because I have to go to the doctor with my daughter, and my wife just came in to remind me that we need to go.
Like right now?
If you can, or I can talk with you later on, or maybe tomorrow.
No, you need to go to the doctor right now?
45 minutes, I have to be there.
Dude, go to the doctor, do what you got to do. We'll do this tomorrow morning.
All right, see you guys.
See you later.
Winds down the angle, 4-knot crosswind, all that's just informative, right? Now, if he's telling you to do something, right, 3/4 of a mile, call the ball. That's an instructive call, right? You're going to respond to that.
Yeah, okay.
So then we had 105. Find him.
But if he says 214 paddles contact and you didn't previously make any radio contact with them, and you didn't call 214 a being, he does want to know that you're alive and on frequency. So in that context, if I heard paddles contact, that means he sees you and he's saying hi. I'd say 214 back to him.
If you don't hear your initial beam call, you're probably going to hear paddles radio check.
Okay.
Right, and that would be how that starts. We usually know who's in the pattern and where, so we know who's going to be making the next approach. So if it gets super busy, right, you may not hear that paddles contact call, or you may hear it at the 90, right, after you've already started your break, or already started your downwind turn or your base turn. So it could be several different places you hear it. So just be mindful of that. All right, so Rando, you're up first here. How'd the approach to the boat go? I heard your radio call with Marshall. It sounded great. How did the approach go?
The approach was fine. I got something happened. I don't remember. I don't know, Ping. I think I told you I've gone way upwind of the boat, and you just told me turn back into the pattern. I think I had some mechanical or a switch problem I was trying to fix. I can't remember what it was, but you'll see it. I think I had made the first pass at it, got waved off, and then I was I didn't turn at 1 mile back into the pattern. I turned it like a couple miles, I think.
Okay, so there's your break.
So I will emphasize this for the group here. Flying around the carrier is a very special kind of environment in that there's a lot of things going on, a lot of moving pieces. Airspaces are very tight. Got to try and stay. I know some of you guys are new in this. Don't take this as a criticism, but just so you know, moving forward, the airspaces are very tight. We've got to fly things by the numbers because once you're in the landing pattern, your separation is everything. Once you're initial, you start entering the pattern. We're looking at keeping you guys at a good separation because otherwise people are going to start. People are going to start. What's the word I'm looking for? Accordion. You're going to have the accordion effect where people are going to start bunching up, and then we're going to have to start waving people off. From an airspace standpoint, just remember, like you're coming in at 800 feet into the initial. There are people that are going to be going into the groove at 600 feet or going in doing their base turn at 600 feet below you. At 1 mile, we're expecting people to break. If you're a single ship at 1 mile, you bolter. We're expecting you guys to get on a BRC and then turn back in downwind at 1 mile. So we've got to stick to those numbers. If you start extending out 2 miles by accident or 3 miles, you mess up the pattern, and then we've got to make adjustments. People start getting waved off, and the whole pattern gets screwed up. So just so you guys are aware to kind of focus on a little bit more for next time. That's all I got for you.
Okay. All right, so
maybe a good question to ask would be if you got something going on and you feel like you can't stay in your position, what is the best way to depart the pattern and give yourself some time before you re-enter?
So if you're a little bit unsure about what you need to do when you're entering the initial, you can request to spin it, or paying as the CATSI will spin you back into the initial or back into the holding pattern.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted there. But yeah, if you just say, hey, I want to break out, I want to do whatever, I want to go back to the stack, let me know.
And as Grip was saying, and we didn't talk about it, plan it, or exercise it at all, but there is formally the spin pattern at 1200. So, they could push you up there if the pattern is too crowded, somebody's having trouble landing, people are stacked too close together. There is a no man's land between 2000 and 800. Which is 1200.
I'm thinking more like you can't fly the proper pattern because there's something physical going on, like maybe your joystick's acting up and you need to like unplug some stuff or something. So it's more like leave the airspace.
Just plain English, request it, and it'll be done. Yeah.
And that's basically a depart and re-enter in non-plain English, but it's basically go fly somewhere safe and come back to the initial when you need to.
Super simple, right? The starboard side of the ship is the cold side. Right? So if Tower needs to divert you away from the other aircraft because of an emergency or a malfunction or something, he's going to have you break off to the right. Which is in the case when we had 2 aircraft lined up too close together. One person went long in the groove and the other person turned into the correct distance. Your wave off call is wave off up the right, meaning go to the right side of the boat, get on the cold side out of the traffic. Right, so the cold side is on the starboard side, which is your safe area. There's nothing out there except a helo, and he's tucked in right over the boat. Okay.
Yeah, I also like to add too, right? If anything's going weird, just like general ATC comms thing, if something's going weird, yes, and non-standard, just default back to plain English. Tell whoever it is, whether it's your flight lead, whether it's me as ATC marshal, whether it's LSO, just plain English is always going to work. Obviously, quick and concise, plain English, but plain English will always work to get the job done.
All right, 105, you ready to watch your first pass here? So the grade we had for this one, this is a wave off pass. You started out on an angled approach, right, which means you turned in too close to the ship, and you were high and left, coming in through the middle. You were a little left in close, and then you got waved off. So let's watch this here real quick. You can see your aircraft here and up here. So you're way up there coming down. So fly through down, you catch it, add way too much power, and then there's your wave off. Any questions about that?
No.
All right. So the next pass looked like it would have been a 1-wire, 16-second groove time. The score was a little high at start, a little high overshoot, and then you were right and low in middle. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry, you were right in middle with a right for lineup call. You were a little high and left in close, and then you dropped at the ramp. So you flew through down at the ramp, and you would have caught a 1-wire. Let's watch that in real time. Here we go. All right, there you are right there. See, you're a little high. All right, so here we come. Angled approach again a little bit. A little too much power, so you're climbing high, and then you chop the power. And you're left the entire way. You got a power call here. Do not pull back on the stick. When you're slow flight like that, pulling back on the stick does the opposite. When you pull the nose up, you're actually going to descend because you're not changing. You're changing the aerodynamic aspect of the aircraft, which is slowing you down, which means you're going to sink. Okay. Next up was 230. Didn't get a whole lot of writing on this one. It was a little wonky here. We'll grade it live, shall we? Okay, yeah. See, there's should be 105 again. Yeah, this is 105, so this one should have been. So I'm looking at a scratch pad on what I wrote down. All in all, not a bad pass. Till the end there, when you settled, that's the power control in close like that has to be a lot finer. Like we got to make much smaller adjustments. And the adjustments you do make need to be undone quicker. So right here, you bank a little hard, you get slow, add a little power, and you balloon. Then you cut the power, and you don't add it back in fast enough.
Yeah, that scared me when that came in.
Yeah.
The other point as well, the Tomcat guys, do not be afraid to bolter. I say this every time. It's very easy to think that you're going to miss the wires. You're flying a big, long jet. That hook is all the way behind you. The last thing I want to see is you guys settling at the ramp because there's nothing I can do to save you, right? You're too close for me to make a call for you to correct, right? So when you settle at the ramp, that scares the shit out of everybody. I'd rather see you guys bolter than to come in flat and taxi 1-wire, hit the ramp. Sorry, go ahead.
All right, so this is 230. Your first pass. Play through this. I think this is one where you're just long and groove.
Yeah, you called out that there was an F-14 that was down there, so, and I wasn't sure what to do, and I was talking to Red, and he said, let's go ahead and go on in. I had went a little long to give him more time, but
Yeah,
yeah, I know. It's my first time doing this shit with a hobo. Well, I'm not the first time, but
Yep.
I wasn't sure exactly what to do.
Yeah, so around the boat, you always do what the document says to do, and then let the controller sort out the problem.
Yeah, that's what Ranger said. He said, just go ahead and do it and let them wave you off if you have to.
Yep.
I think
So
that was on
it's-
me. Was
Okay,
that
so
where I cut off traffic total cost less than 1 mile?
that was
I
on
believe so,
correct.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was.
You know what? I want to look at that real quick because that was a question we had.
Although I thought that was your second pass, but
No, my first pass was the one where the tomcat was down there. I believe it was.
Okay, so here's the issue we ran into. On this one, you did everything correct, right? You broke it a mile. Rando is coming into land. You beat him to the bow, right? So what happens here is Rando bolters, right? Because it's a hook up. You're already in the break. He should have extended to 2 miles on BRC. So he bolters right here, positive rate. Okay, I see that guy out here in front of me. I'm going to go to 2 miles. What he does is he goes to about 3/4 of a mile, maybe half a mile, and he starts turning in front of you. He's already starting his turn, in fact. Right? So, Hoss, you did it correctly. Rando, pay attention to that traffic. We all miss it, but that's something we really got to pay attention to where this happens.
Yeah, I missed that. Sorry, I didn't see it.
No, it happens, man. I've done it. Grip's done it. Everybody's done it. But in this situation, let the tower sort it out, or let paddle sort it out. Like this is
that's
close.
the question.
I didn't notice him until Grip called him out, and then I looked down below me and I saw him. And then I go, okay, now what?
So the most important thing to do here is keep him in sight. Right? Worst case scenario, you'll break behind him. Like this is an absolute worst case scenario. You guys are a mile apart, so it's not that bad. What I would do here is we would have talked about it real quick and sorted out the problem. We would have waved Rando off as soon as he rolled out, but you would have been right behind him in the proper groove. We would have waved him off the right and had you come in for a track. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But what we don't have, what we want to avoid is you guys trying to solve a problem in the air that doesn't match the problem we're trying to solve on the ground, and now we have to create a new solution for a new problem.
right, because they're going to wave off. In this case, they should wave off Rando if they recognize the problem.
Yes,
and you want to be right in position for a normal standard landing.
Yeah, I went a little long on that one because I wasn't exactly sure what to do. That's why.
And the problem is, and I could see it happening, and that's why I was telling you, just go for it, just go for it. But the time it takes for me to say, just go for it, and for you to receive that and process it, like that's 2, 3, 4 seconds, and boom, that's all it takes to be out of position.
Yep.
That's right. If in doubt, as long as you can see the traffic and you're not going to collide with them, just turn where you're supposed to turn. Especially when that's the whole idea of what we're trying to practice.
Paddles will wave one of you off. Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying, yeah, we are doing touch and go, so it really doesn't matter.
And so for
Yep.
should I still make that traffic call? Pay traffic 12 o'clock, less than 1 mile, or
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's if it's within a mile, especially right. Traffic 12 o'clock. They report traffic in sight. That's all we need right now. They maintain their flying formation off of that traffic basically.
Okay.
That's as far as we're going to go. All right, so 230 is coming up here. Looks like we had a little long in groove. This was a 21-second groove time. In middle, fly through down, and left in close. A little low at the ramp for a 2-wire. Was the score on this pass. Right there. Coming back, good control. Drifting, remember the boat's always going to be going away from you, so you got to keep that right wing down constantly. Little fly through down there, a little low at the ramp. Probably for a 2. Not a bad pass, though. All right, next up was 105. There he is. All right, here he comes. Altitude's a little high. Looks good, though. I'd rather high than low. So for this one, we had a little angled approach, high at the start through in middle, a little high all the way to the ramp, basically, left all the way for a bolter. So the other thing I'm going to point out right here is, oh shoot, I went back too far. You see how flat your nose is right here? Can y'all see that, how flat you are? That's too much nose down trim. You need to have that nose up. You can see the transition start right here where your nose starts going up. Right, so get that DLC up earlier. Nose goes down again and then comes back up right there. Right, so not a bad approach, but that DLC needs to be kicked in. We need to get on speed sooner, right? Because you're coming in flat here, which is why you're fast. And then you get that nose up, and then you start sinking. And then it's power, a little too much, and you floated. Not a bad pass. All right. Didn't get a groove time on that one, my bad.
The other thing I just wanted to add as well, guys, when that I particularly noticed, when Paddles gives you a corrective call, you got to make that adjustment quickly but smoothly. There's a few times you're either lined up left or lined up right, and I mentioned right for lineup or left for lineup, and nothing happened. There was no movement. There was no adjustment. You got to make that adjustment when that call is made because you only have 18 seconds, right? So you got to make that adjustment quickly, otherwise the time compression is going to come in and it's going to be a big problem. You're going to be off center line.
On that, I want to explain something to you guys real quick. There's 5 checkpoints we're looking for in a grading system, right? And this is what the grading system looks like when it's written down on paper. I know this looks like chicken scratch, but all of this stuff means something, okay? And we use this to actually grade the pass. What we're looking for is at the start, in middle, in close, at the ramp, and then in the wires. Those are your 5 grading points. Okay, so at 3/4 of a mile, that is going to be your at the start. Okay, that is justified one of 2 ways: either the ball call at 3/4 of a mile, or when you cross the center line. If you're way out here and you cross the center line, we're going to start the clock. Right? That's not necessarily the start. Right, but that's where we're going to start the clock. So here you're approaching 3/4 of a mile. We're going to start the clock. You're approaching center line. So this is the at start, right here. Okay, so we're looking just to get these coincided together. Fast forward here a little bit. Popping up right about here. Oh, here we are here already. Okay, so here you can see you are right here, right? So this is the at start. So this is what we're seeing when you're right here. Okay, we'll fast forward this. This may not be the same pass, right? But that's basically what I'm saying. So then when you keep going on, you get to, there's the at start. Right about there is the middle. Okay, so there's only about a second between, maybe 2-3 seconds between the start and the middle. So we get into the middle, and then now we're getting to in close, and now we're getting to at the ramp, which is right about here, and then the last grading point is going to be in the wires, which is right there. Everybody understand that from a general perspective? Like, that's what we're looking for. So how did we say this was? 230 again?
Not sure.
Yeah. So this is 230's pass. So little long and groove, 20-second groove time. This was high at start. Little high left in middle, right for lineup call. Fly through down in close with the right for lineup call, low at the ramp for a 1-wire. Okay, so what we're seeing here is you're high at the start. Right now, basically anything outside of this little non-crosshair area, that's a little high, right? Anything above twice that distance, like from here to there, right? Anything twice that is high. So your high at start, little drift to your left in middle, which is right here. Okay, you're still a little high, but you're coming down, which is what we want to see. Okay, so then you make your correction, right for lineup, and then you chop the power. And this is where you fly through down, landed left for a 1-wire.
Yeah, that was a big screw up on my part. I was telling Razor after he landed and stuff that right when, on that was my third pass. As I was coming, as I was making what you call it the start, my dogs start barking and banging, trying to get out of the room. It scared the shit out of me. So yeah, you didn't show my second one though.
Did I miss your second one?
Yeah.
I've got one. I didn't show you the first one because that was the one you just waved off.
No, I wasn't waved off.
Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Going backwards is almost impossible. There's 214, 105. There's you on initial right here.
I bet if you go tacview, you can use that ship's time on the flight game to sync it up.
Maybe.
Haas, are you keeping your velocity vector in the crotch of the ship?
Yes. Yes. It's like I was telling Razor, I do this stuff every night. I fly out to the tanker and tank and fly to the boat and do about 8 or 9 touch and goes and then do a trap.
08, 40, 55. So 2 more minutes.
I'm still a work in progress.
Yeah, you see it doesn't line up.
That's what it's all about, right? It's all about
A very good work in progress.
Yeah. Like that was not a bad pass, Haas. I've seen a lot worse. So.
No, you haven't come in here. This is his first pass.
Yep, I
The
believe
the clock is accurate. Yeah, the clock is good. Second pass is 8:40. Is 11:44:40 or 11:44:28.
I've got him 11:40:55 is where he's coming in.
That's the second pass.
This is
Oh, maybe
first pass.
yeah, maybe that. Sorry, that's first pass. Second pass is 44 and a half.
41:10. Let's just follow this through and see what happens. Yeah, that's him right there. So long and groove. You did that on purpose, right? This is your first pass. And we drifted left, fly through down in middle right there. Settled a little bit in close, low at the ramp. That would have been a 1-wire as well. Is that the one we missed?
I don't know.
Well, let's see when your second one is.
Second one's 8:44:28 or 11:44:28.
There you are right there. So this is your second one, a little long and groove. Looks like you drifted left at the start, left, a little left in middle, fly through down, left in close, little low at the ramp for a 2-wire, 21-second group time. There you go. You settle a little too much. Landed a little bit left. Not a bad pass. All right, we watched your third one, yeah?
Yeah, it was probably right about there when the dogs started barking. Scared the shit out of me, man.
Well, imagine when they start shooting missiles at you.
Well, that's a little disconcerting too. When I practice that picket ship that's back there on the starboard quarter back there, start shooting missiles.
Yeah.
Who's next? You got
All right, so 105, 214 is going to be up next. Let me find out what time he sends it at. Where are you at? Is that him? That's him right there. There's the break. About 11:51:50. There he is. So on this one, we had a little long in groove to start out with. Is like 19 seconds. But we had an overshoot at start, and you came back nice and smooth. And then I had you high coming down all the way. Like everyone watched this pass, right? We'll talk about the overshoot at the start here. It's got a little, not enough turn rate in. So he's going to overshoot this. It's hard to see him on here.
I think he's a little bit long downwind on this pass.
Yeah, so he's coming up right here. There he is. So he overshot. He's coming back nice and controlled. He intercepts perfectly to get back on the glide path. And this is what we want to see coming down. This is what you call flying the ball, right? So he's literally right on top of the ball the whole way down. And then boom, right into the wires. Right? So outside of the overshoot, that was a really good pass. Again, flying the ball, we want to stay on top of it. And you want to stay on top of this pretty much the whole way down until you get to about right there. And then you just, whatever you have, you keep it. You should be right on the ball. You're going to see the ball start flying up as you get too close for it to register correctly. But that's where you just hold what you have and hope it was right. He's on center line. And then boom, touchdown just a little bit right. But all in all, great pass on that first one.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I was lined up at my usual 1.3 on that one, and for max track weight, that ended up with an overshoot. But I'm surprised. Honestly, I'm surprised at how well it corrected.
So for your second pass, it was a bolter, 17-second groove time. You were left and high coming down all the way. And you added a little too much power at the ramp, which took you over the wires. Now that's a call for what Grip saw, but we'll watch that pass because it'll show you how much a little too much power can really affect things. 54.25. How's that for perfect? Here you are right there.
Nice.
There you are right there coming up. Nice smooth turn rate for the last 10 degrees. Little left, little high, coming down all the way. And then you just stay at a little too much power right there. Do you see it? If you watch that, you can see the jet just flatten out just a hair. Right? So if you watch, he starts coming down, adds power, flattens out, and then tries to make up for it, but he was still too high all the way. So he just floated right over the top. Everybody see that? All in all, not a bad pass, though.
But you'd rate that as missed the fourth wire?
Gripped it. Don't ask me. Gripped it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I'm remembering that, Pat. I'm definitely, Grip wasn't here last week, but one thing I definitely am trying to work on is err on the side of, fourth wire or missing wires rather than one wire or two wire. Like if it's high, ease it down so slowly, but try to stay on the high side. So it wouldn't surprise me if I missed it. I think that was one where I was looking out the back window thinking, yeah, I hope the hook's long enough.
Yeah, and that's good. That's a good thing to look for. I'd rather see that.
I've definitely been working on that. And that trying not to be lined up left every time.
That's the right mentality to have. And here's your last pass. So on this one was a 4-wire, 17-second groove time. Little angled approach and high at the start. A little right to left. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I write that down wrong? No, I'm sorry. Angled approach, drift left in middle, right for lineup call. You were a little high and a little left in close, and then you were a little high at the ramp for a 4-wire. So good pass all in all. I would have given that an okay track pass, no problem. But here we can see you lined up a little bit left on the angled approach, a little high. You bring it down, but you didn't correct to the right enough. Add a little touch of power right there, and boom, 4-wire. So nice controlled pass. Good stuff all around. All right, next up, 112. You still in there with us?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Rooster Cogburn, there's the man.
So let me ask you guys, in real life, do you have the LSO and then you have a separate guy doing the grading?
In real life, there are 6 people on the LSO platform. You have one person controlling altitude, one person controlling lineup, the third person is writing everything down. I'm sorry, the third person is overseeing both of them. The fourth person is writing everything down. The fifth person is watching the deck. And the 6th person is an enlisted E4, E5 getting waters for the LSO. All right, so a couple things here, Rooster. We saw this watching here, right? We want to make sure that this pattern around the boat, we stay within 5 miles. It's okay to extend it a little bit for your initial, but we don't want to go out quite this far. All right, we're shooting out to 12 miles here.
Oh, can you go back? There was one situation, Ping, right, where we had a question mark of should I commence or shouldn't I commence, and Ping called it back to go back to the Marshall stack. Did you want to describe it, Ping?
Right. Yeah. So if you go when he's about at just past the 3 position, I believe, you'll see him reverse that turn to the right.
So who's this?
He's up at 3. He's
okay.
Yeah.
So walk us through what happened here.
So I gave him a commenced call. It looked like he was past position 3. Hey, signal Charlie, great. Expecting lap around position 3, commence, boom, good to go.
Okay.
He commenced right after that call. Right, yeah, right there when you see it do that little S turn, I believe. Rooster, is that right? When you started that
no,
first
this is my actual commencement. So you want to go back?
Yeah, this is still the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're still in the pattern.
Yeah, this is still in the pattern.
It's still in the stack, and then I think the little S turn there is the actual.
You'll see my airspeed go up to like 500 miles an hour when I do the commence.
Yeah.
That too, because I saw that first one you started it, and then I called you back quickly.
So when should you call me for the
Let's talk about this from both sides real quick, because that's a great question, right? And this does happen more often than not when you have controllers. So we all know our commencement starts at position 3. If you are close to position 3, and by close I mean if you're past 2/3 of the way to position 3, expect that if you get a Charlie call, it's for the next pass. Okay? If a controller gives you a Charlie call when you're right over position 3, shoot the controller in the foot later, because he's a dick. Right? Like, let's just, that's what happened here. If you get the Charlie call and you're anywhere approaching position 3, just commence on the next turn, on the next lap, right? Do not ever try and rush anything in the pattern. That's just a bad thing to do, right? So if I was in your position here and I got, okay, your signal's Charlie, okay, roger that, signal's Charlie, and I would have just kept going around. Because the worst thing that can happen if you go around again is the spacing is a little off in the pattern on how quickly we get everybody back on deck. Right? Nothing bad can happen for you spinning it in the pattern an additional lap.
So my question to Ping is, Ping, did you intend for me to commence at that point, or did you intend for me to do another lap?
Yeah, so I thought that you were past position 3 when I gave you that. So yeah, spin it around one more time, send it, good to go.
Okay, just wanted to clear that
so
up.
I can get, yeah, and so on my side, what I'm trying to run there is, if I can give you that call early, get you out of the way, great. You're no longer my problem, right? Kind of, but not really. Then that guy Angels 3, I can bring him down. As soon as he's past position 1, I can give him, hey, collapse Angels 2. On that next pass, you're already going to be going commence. That airspace is clear for the next guy above.
So let's expand on a couple of things here real quick, right? You can have up to 6 aircraft at the same altitude in the pattern, right? That means you're going to have a 4-ship and a 2-ship. Okay, you can't have 6 individual aircraft. But for like the case 1 stuff coming up on Thursday, expect to be in the same altitude block as another aircraft. And this is where you want to try and work your sequencing to where you're on opposite sides of the circle. Okay, we talked about this a little bit on Tuesday last week, where let's say we run into this situation where we're both on the same side of the circle, and we know 102 is going to get collapsed. Okay, well, I'm going to cut the circle a little bit. Instead of going to 5 miles, I'm going to go at 3. That'll put me inside of him. He's coming down from up top, so he can extend out a little bit, right? And create that spacing to where now you're on opposite sides.
Not outside 5 miles, but extend out appropriately.
Yeah, 5.5 is okay.
Yeah, we'll see that, I think, in another little bit here. We'll see that come up in a second. Because I know somebody asked me, I was like, hey, confirm Angels 2. I was like, and then I explained to her, hey, if you got somebody going, he's going to go commence by the time you get there.
Yeah, okay, so another thing on this one, right? We want to start our commencement at position 3, which is over here, right? When you hit position 3, the way I do it is I'm going to use your previous turn. So when I get to right here, what I do is instead of completing the turn, I'll just roll out about 20 degrees off the reciprocal, 20 or 30 degrees. So I just watch that boat go under my left wing.
And that, I did see a trend there. When you get the commence call, right, or signal is trying, excuse me, when you get the Charlie call, that's not a directive, hey, at this time, go commence, regardless of position, right? That's, hey, whenever you reach position 3, right, start that commence. I did notice that as well. As soon as I call it, you were already commencing, so just give it until you get to position 3. Take your time. If it's wrong, I'll get that next guy, hey, action, maintain, Angels 3 or whatever it might be.
Always commence.
Gotcha. So that was me where you called both me and Tron at Angels 2, and I just said something to the effect of, are you sure about that? So.
No, that's good. I'd rather you say, hey, are you sure about that than have some pain.
Yeah, because you saw him at the opposite end of the circle, I think, right? You came back and you said that.
And so what I'm doing there, when I heard you make that call, I got my hand up and I'm looking for you too. Because I'm like, oh, there's a traffic issue, like where I should be able to see him. I know I couldn't, but in some cases I could.
Are you guys at full altitude right now?
Yeah, they're both on the 800 feet.
So what happened is that something went haywire there, and you told me to bolter to the right or whatever, wave off to the right.
This is a prime example of the LSOs watching the pattern, and Ping is talking to us as well, right? Like we knew this was going to be an issue long before this happened. Like we were talking about it here. Like even before that, we started talking about it here actually. When we saw you at 600 knots and Tron was commencing behind you, we're like, oh shit. We're like, oh, lucky he's doing mock Jesus, or else it wouldn't have worked out.
Worked out perfectly, yeah.
Yeah, it worked out okay. Now what happened here is your brake, if you watch the difference in the brakes, right? So your brake is a little sharp to start, flattens out, and then you get slow. And you get down to like 250 feet, which means you're much slower than Tron. Okay? So watch Tron's brake. See how smooth that is? That'll come with time, right? But that's what we're shooting for, and that'll help everybody keep the spacing. Now, what happened on the wave off, right? If we look at the boat here, right about the aft of this ship is where you want to brake or start your base turn. Okay, so if we let this play out, you start your base turn at 2.25 miles from the
Go
boat.
vertical a little bit. Okay.
So you were outside to start with, right? So on your beam, good distance here. That's about 2 miles, 1.75 miles, so a little bit too far outside. But then you start your base turn way too late. So again, let's look at the difference of when you start versus when Tron starts. See the difference there?
Yeah, we saw it coming. Tron was going to make that base turn when he should. We knew we were going to have to wave you off.
So we'd already planned on this. We'd already made the call. We cannot make the call until you are lined up behind the boat. Right? We can't have you waving off unless we know your nose is pointing it at the boat. So this is where you hear the call, wave off up the right. And what that means is stay on the right side of the boat, on the cold side of the aircraft carrier, fly the BRC on the right side of the boat, and watch your spacing for the guy who's landing. Right? Whoever makes it to the bow first owns the airspace. So in this scenario, I would say it's a tie. Tie goes to the runner on the deck. So
I think that's where I call it break it too as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Brewster, I would have automatically in my head, right, when I saw that happening, I would have said, okay, I'm going to 2 miles. And that's exactly what we did. So good job on that one.
You didn't say anything to Tron? You just continued on?
Tron's
No,
doing what
Tron-
the documents say to do.
Yeah, Tron continued on to broke where he should have.
I thought we were 2 miles, but I heard him tell Rooster to extend to 2, so then I turned 1.
Yeah, and I pointed out the traffic to your Rooster as well, make sure that you had visual on Tron at your 11 o'clock. So.
And
Let's
Rooster,
back this up.
you'll find yourself in my position at some point too, and it feels like because I recognized that you were going long and I was going to cut you off. I mean, it feels rude, right? But like that's the way this is supposed to work. So when you're in my position, make the turn when you're supposed to, and cut the person off, and they'll wave him around. Like they already see it.
My mistake goes back to the initial, where I keep on having this mistake where I do the commence and I drop down to 800 feet and I lose sight of the carrier and I don't make my initial on time, and I give myself a little bit more spacing and distance, to get on BRC. And so do you have any tips for that? Like when you make your commence,
I do.
you drop down to 800 feet and do you lose sight of the carrier? Because I do.
No. I don't. This is from an 18 perspective, so not really sure how it translates to the Tomcat. I do my commencement based off of airspeed and turn rate. Right? So I don't try to get to 800 feet as soon as I can. I don't try to get to 350 as soon as I can either. I add a little bit of power. I tip the nose down about 4 degrees. And at 4.5 miles, I bank left 27 degrees. That's my start. Once I get to the 90, so through my commencement, let me back this up to your commence here real quick. So at this point, right, I'm flying off heading. I've got my bank angle set. At this point, at the 90, right, all I'm doing is watching my tacking. I can see the boat, but I'm using my tacking for my distance. And when that line starts moving, that's when I roll on to BRC. That makes sense?
So you're not maintaining visual of the carrier. You're looking down,
No.
head down.
Most of the time I'm head down. I'm cross-checking the carrier to make sure I know where I'm at. But I'm also looking at multiple things, right? I'm looking at the boat behind the carrier. I'm looking at the carrier itself. I'm looking for other traffic, right? So that'll come with experience, right? But for the most part, it's instrument flying until you get to 3 miles. Now, you lose sight of the boat because you're 11 miles away, right? If you're only 6 or 7 miles away, you shouldn't lose sight of the boat. It's just going to be a little dot out there, but you should be able to see it.
Yeah,
So, this is where
for the Tomcat.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. But for the Tomcat, the only difference really is you're going to tuck your wings right at the beginning, and that will help you drop the nose down and speed up anyway. So the throttle direction is pretty minimal. You only want to bring it up to 350. And yeah, I mean, you could fly this instrument. Honestly, when I do it, I'm pretty much doing it dead reckoning. Like, I kind of know about the turn angle, and I know like what airspeed it should be going, and then I turn and I sort of wait for the carrier, wait till I get closer and maybe 45, and then I start checking the lineup on the tack end. Yeah.
Sounds right.
Yeah. And this goes to my previous point about why it's important to fly things by the numbers. It's very important because you can get out to lunch very easily, right? So coming out of the stack, you're commencing at position 3. It's a progressive descent down to 1,200 feet. You want to, once you're getting ready to line up for the initial, you want to start getting down to 800. You're not diving down to 800 right away. It's just a progressive thing. You want to increase speed to 350. You don't want to go any faster than that. Stay within 5 nautical miles of the boat as best as you can. Because if you go too far out, Roto said you're going to start losing visual of your whatever sight picture you might have. So you want to try and stay within that carrier control zone, which is 5 nautical miles.
It's going to be within reason. Like, if you start your turn 20 degrees off of 0.3, you will immediately go outside of 5 miles, but you'll be close the whole time, right? You're turning basically on the outside of that circle.
Yep.
Yeah. In the Hornet, for me personally, at 4 on my 30 degrees, about on my tack end, when I'm about 4.5 nautical miles from the boat, I'm starting my turn.
So you start your turn.
4 to 4.5 nautical miles. I'm starting my turn to get to initial, and that usually keeps me within about 5 miles.
Yeah, so I think I used to go about 20 degrees off and descending there for a little bit before I start my turn. So that's why I come out and fly the outside of the circle. Anyway, it's all pretty similar as long as you don't extend too far. You really don't want to get very far.
Yeah, you don't want to be out 10, 12 miles. That's just way too far.
Yeah, and you don't have you should be able to see it if you do look, but you really, it's a long ways to turn your neck, right? You don't need to.
All right, so 102's first pass here, 4-wire, 18-second groove time, nailed that. Got a little angled approach, high and left at the start. You had a right for lineup call in middle. You were still a little left in the middle. Second right for lineup call in close. You were still a little left. Corrected at the ramp, so you're a little high at the ramp for a 4-wire. So this is going to be you over here to the right. This was 112, waved off up the right here.
I think I did the same thing on all 3. A little better on the last one, but.
Yep.
That's about 1 o'clock. I'm about to head out. Is there anything else for me?
No, I think that's everything, man. Good job tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Ping.
Anything else? Cool.
All right, so on these landings, right, remember the boat's running away from you. When you get those rifle lineups, we need to see that wing dip. Like, as soon as you hear that rifle lineup, we need that wing to dip down.
Yeah, that was too gradual. And then
there it goes.
Right, I was like, this isn't working.
There it goes.
Yeah.
Do a little high, 4-wire. Very good at the ramp. Just try and get that over a little quicker. Next up is going to be 112. This is where we're trying to figure out how the spacing was going to work. Yeah, because 102 is up next again.
Oh, yeah.
The next pass we had here was, again, a little angled approach and high and left at the start. Right for lineup, call in middle, so you're still a little left. Power and right for lineup in close. And then coming back, you were coming back onto the groove at the ramp. Looks like a 21-second groove time or 20-second. I don't know what I did with a piece of paper. 20-second groove time, something like that, for a 3-wire.
What's the goal for group time?
15 to 18 seconds. There you are. Okay. Here it comes. So again, angled approach here. Left.
This is where I was trying to get you to line up, make that rifle line up. But
See, that would give a teeny bit, and then it's too late, but yeah.
Yeah. But nice correction on the center.
Rather see those earlier instead of right at the deck.
Yeah.
All right, so 112, this is a bolter pass. This was your actual first one. Long and groove, left at the start. Brought it back a little bit. You were left in the middle, power call. In close, you had a little too much power. And you were fast at the ramp, which means you had your nose too far down. Very long groove time, 29 seconds. So you should be coming up right about there.
112 rooster.
Yep. So there you are right there. Still way too far out. That's right about to start there. So left, a little high. Looking good as far as height. Start drifting up, a little too much power. Back on the center line. Got a power call here. Up you go. Okay, you see how?
Try to get as fast.
Yeah, you see how your nose gear is almost into the speed brakes here? That should be way up here. Like your nose should be much higher than this. I shouldn't be able to see your tails at all at this point. I can't remember.
When you were in close, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could remember seeing the red ball on the nose. Yeah, you see, you're way too flat right there.
You see the nose is dead.
See how your nose is almost at the pointed at the deck? That's bad juju. Because what's actually going to happen when you push the nose down like that, you're going to gain speed, which means you're going to climb.
Yeah, I didn't even hit the deck on that one.
All right. 102 is up next. 3-wire. High and left at the start. Left in the middle with a right for lineup call. Little left in close. And then coming back on the ramp. I didn't get your groove time. I did something with that piece of paper. I don't know what the hell I did with it. Oh, I just never took a picture of it. I didn't get all of it in there.
And this was who?
This is me. Tron.
This should be
Tron? Okay.
Tron, yeah. There he is. So high. And left at the start. Nice dip on the wing there. Starts to bring it back in the middle. There it is, coming back at the ramp. Again, I'd like to see that a little further out for a 3-wire trap.
Yep.
All right, last 2 passes is going to be 112, Mr. Rooster.
Yeah, I remember
Again,
this
long
one
and
because
groove.
I remember Grip yelling at me to put it into burner.
Yeah, so on this one, long and groove with an overshoot and low at the start, right? So way too low down here. Like this is bad juju. Got the power back in, right? You had basically a fly through up in the middle and a right to left. And then you continued flying up in close, but then you chopped the throttles and you dove down to the deck in close. So this is a dangerous pass. This is how you wind up in the fantail. So way too much power, you balloon up, and then you're going to see you chop the throttles.
With that big of a balloon that quickly, I would say you're probably going too fast as well. We'll wait and see.
So rocket
I was gonna stall right there. Like my AOA was on the green, like really on the green. I was losing control right there with my wing rock.
Yeah. So here we drop back down, power, wave off, and then good wave off there. Right. Try not to pull back on the stick when you wave off. Just use the throttles.
Yeah, it's an important one if you already throw slow and you pull back on the stick. That's what dips the wings and flips you over.
Past that critical angle of attack and into the drinky you go.
Or you get a flame out and end up like someone. I'm not going to mention for now.
All right, so last pass, long and groove, little overshoot. Little overshoot at the start. Got back on the glide path, little left in the middle. So that's going to be a right to left in the middle. Fly through up in close, and then you come back onto it, and then you settle at the ramp for a 3-wire. I don't know how you got 3-wire, but you got it.
It was a taxi 3-wire. I think this was a wave off. You ended up catching the wire.
Yeah, so fly through up, chop the power, nose down, slam the power, boom. So that is actually a resting hook only wire, right? If you watch this, you'll see your tail hook grabs the wire before your wheels hit the deck, which is a big no-no.
And that nose, look at your nose as well. If you rewind it.
Yeah, your nose is up and down the whole time.
Yeah, you want to control that that glide slope via throttle. You nose down, like Tron had mentioned. You're gonna end up getting too fast. You're gonna blow through the glide slope.
But then you can see right here.
Nose down. Yeah. Yeah, the power call.
Your hook's already caught and your gear's not down yet. So, all in all, not bad. For as little time as we've done with this, I'm pretty happy with
that was like I was saying. This is like a shit setup that I'm flying off of. I'm just glad I managed to trap, and I appreciate all your guys' calls over the radio.
Yeah, man. We're gonna do this again on Thursday. Same setup. The difference on Thursday is quick brief again. We're gonna do 5 total traps, and you will only be graded on the last one. Okay, so we're gonna have 4 hookups. The last one's gonna be a graded pass, hook down, and that's what you'll be graded on. The trends I saw tonight: groove times. Make sure you practice that sight picture on when you're passing the aft end of the boat. As soon as you can see into the back of the boat, start your turn. Do not wait. I'd rather you guys be a little short on the
groove time than long, because as many aircraft as we're going to have on Thursday, if we start going long in the groove, we're going to have spacing problems, and we're going to have a lot of wave off up the rights, which just causes more problems. Any questions?
So,
Anything for any of us?
Haas, get to your final little bit of practice in tomorrow if needed. Hoping to get you CQ'd on Thursday if all goes well, especially for the other ensigns for 143 if they are ready. Just remember the lessons learned from today, from what myself and Frodo have brought up. Don't let that go out the other ear. Take these briefing points and just keep building, keep improving. This is the first stage to getting really proficient. So looking forward to Thursday.
Yep. Otherwise, excellent work, Haas. Glad to see great progress. Doing great.
Yeah, I just so you know, Grip, Frodo, I got a text from Grizz. He got his new computer and he's got it all, pretty much got it all set up. So when he gets back online, I'll be taking him out and flying with him too, and trying to get him up to speed on stuff so he can do this.
Yep, awesome.
That's
great to hear.
So I made an interesting discovery just now. I was searching, since we're critically grading our flat cam footage and whatnot, and for the longest time I've been irked that tacview doesn't have a proper plat cam, and that the old one from long ago is broken. And then I just discovered that somebody finally published a Lua script that you can add into your tacview that adds the plat cam to the supercarrier. So since you have that, so Frodo, as our, so I'll post it in the word room there, the link to it. Since you've recorded the footage and have your grades, you might want to take a look at that and sort of see if it lines up and how accurate it is. It might be easier. 100%. I know you're not always going to have the luxury of having, video recorded at the plat cam the whole time. But for, some other random mission or something where we just have tacview footage, this might
if I'm on the LSO, I'll record it every time. Now, I'm not publishing this for everyone to see, so it's not a public thing. So don't worry about people giving you shit about it.
Well, one thing I wanted to mention, sorry to interrupt, Rando, when you were making your fuel calls, I noticed that you were always over like the landing weight requirement, like 10.0. You were like calling out 12.6 and stuff like that. So that might have affected your landings.
Oh yeah, I think I did break the gear or something. It might have. I was hitting.
You had a really heavy jet, so at 12.6.
Yep, max landing weight is 10,000.
Max landing ordnance and fuel is 10,000. The landing weight is something like 54 or whatever.
Yeah, but I thought it was like 10,000 pounds. That Toro was telling us it was 10,000 pounds of fuel if you had nothing but tanks.
Yeah, it's 10,000 pounds for fuel, ordnance, and tanks. So if you have 2 Phoenixes, you got to take off 2,000 pounds. So you only have 8.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Start at 10 and subtract out.
Technically, it's like 0.1 for the tanks and 0.2 for the Sidewinders, maybe. Something like that. Half for the Sparrows. Depends on whether they're in a center station or a wing, but it's a small difference. So you kind of round it off.
Okay, one of the other trends I saw, right? We had a lot of angled approaches tonight. So for Thursday, right, shallow up that initial turn just a bit and try and get onto the center line a little further out instead of cutting across the wake. Don't fly up the wake if you can.
So Frodo, I noticed when you did the call out for the wind direction, there was a bit of a crosswind.
Always.
Always? Okay.
Yeah, there's no actual wind on the training server. Just think about it this way: the boat is traveling in a straight line. It's generating its own wind. You got 24 knots down the angled deck, right? The angled deck is offset 10 degrees to the left, right? So you're gonna get naturally you're gonna get a crosswind across the deck.
Yeah, I noticed you called that, and then I went to the pry fly to see if those meters indicated anything, and apparently they don't.
No, it's because so for a cardinal direction example, right? If the boat's traveling due north, the flight deck is angled 351. So you're going to be crabbing into the direction the boat is heading, which is what creates that crosswind.
As if there's a crosswind, right?
Yep.
Okay,
But
that's a
I guess-
new point to me. I always thought the flight deck, like where you're landing, is going to be into the wind, but it's the aircraft heading is into the wind, not the flight deck.
Right. And I guess it's,
Well,
I had envisioned that when someone's calling the winds, that they're calling it relative to the landing area, not relative to the ship. But I guess the ship is the instrumentation is reading what's the crosswind across the bow of the ship.
Yep. That's correct.
Yeah. There's two readings. The main one there is giving you the actual wind over the deck. So the angle deck. And then you got the crosswind across the actual
Is there a reading somewhere in the air boss's station?
on the flat cam.
Oh, on the plat cam.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right, fellas, I'm gonna head to bed. Good night tonight.
Very good.
Get some flight time in tomorrow if you can.
I will unfortunately probably not be able to make it on Thursday, but we'll see if I'm able to get in or get in late. I'll try, but I got a big family event that night.
Not a problem.
Might be able to make it in late. We'll see what happens.
Hey, thanks, guys. This was really good feedback on the flight and debriefing, and I thank you for taking all the time to do it. It's really helping me.
I love this stuff.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. It's good feedback.
Yeah, and like I was saying, as you guys get better at this, we're going to start critiquing the littler things, right? Like Grip and I were actually talking about this on the plat cam, right? With the more experienced pilots, I give them correction calls a lot more sensitive than I give the newer guys, right? So like Rooster and Rando, you guys can be a little further off the center line before I make a right for lineup or come left call. But for like Razor and if Grip was flying, if they're outside that center line by a freaking cunt hair, they're getting it.
I hate those little RCHs.
But no, that's kind of the next step in this, right? Is we start critiquing ourselves more and more on the littler things, and we start backing it up to, okay, you've gotten proficient at this. Let's back it up and see if we can fix the problem before it starts.
Like
right?
what
So,
I like
on
this is that with you guys being the LSO and critiquing us, like I got the 3-wire on that last landing, but it was shit. Like I knew that I overcorrected at the end, and you guys could catch that, right, and call me on it and correct me on it. And that's what I like about having this LSO grading is that, yeah, I might have got a 3-wire, but it was a shit landing, right? So, it was good. I like that.
Yeah, scoring wise, that would have been a 2, if not a, okay, you're going to take a break for a while.
Yeah.
In real life.
Yeah. I just wanted to get on the deck, to tell you the truth, to end the, I didn't want people, 6 other guys watching me do another go around. So, real life, I probably would have waved off on that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But don't worry about that stuff, right? If you gotta wave off, you gotta go around. This is all part of getting better. Never, if you get a wave off, never force the landing. Just go around. Just do it again.
Okay. All right. I'll take your word on that and do that next time.
Yeah, we keep everybody honest here because that's how we all improve. That's why we fly Navy, right? We want to try and be as proficient and as good around the boat as we all can because it makes things a lot easier.
So the end result of this, right, guys, is when we get very proficient at this, we're going to turn the radios off. And we're going to do this entire thing ziplet from Marshall all the way to the LSO. We'll have a time where you commence, So you won't even check in with the boat, right? You'll just know what stack altitude you're supposed to be at ahead of time. You'll get to your stack altitude and you will start your approach at a specific time. The only radio call you will have is 3/4 of a mile call a ball. And that's it. And when we can get there, it's freaking awesome. It's so fun to watch.
And if only ED would model the deck crew and the tractors and everything else on the deck so that whoever's down at 2000 can be watching the deck to time their commence so that they're crossing the ramp the moment the deck goes green.
Yeah, like
that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be sweet. All right, guys, y'all have a good one. We'll see you on Thursday.
Thank you, guys. See you next time.
Later.
Good night.